What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video. Today I want to get into Justin Fields' first press conference with the New York Jets and some quotes from Brandon Stevens as well, talking about why he chose the New York Jets. As you can see, I'm rocking the new hat, the latest update to the Matt O'Leary NY merch store. Run the damn ball. That's going to be the New York Jets 2025 motto. You can pick one up on mattolearyny.com if you want to get the merch, support the show. Really appreciate it, guys. Okay, let's hop into today's episode. Justin Fields spoke on reuniting with Garrett Wilson. Here's what he had to say about teaming up with some of his former college teammates.
I mean, it's awesome. Of course, we played together in college, and, when I saw him, it's really just like the old days. So I don't think our relationship skipped a beat. So, of course, I'm definitely excited to play with him, guys like Ruck and, Josh Myers. So I'm excited for that, and of course things that we can do to help get each other better. Just get back on the same page as we were in college, and of course communicate. Make sure we're always on the same page when it comes to concepts and routes and what he's doing in certain situations. But I'm definitely excited to be back on the field with him for sure.
Justin Fields had a lot of success in college throwing the football, significantly more than he has as a pro, and we'll get to that quote in a second on him being more of a passer momentarily. But a big reason for that was because he had Garrett Wilson, who was awesome, and Jeremy Ruckert. I know that, unfortunately it hasn't gone how we have hoped for Jeremy Ruckert so far through 3 years in the league, but he was a good college player. He was the second tight end taken in the 2022 draft class and had a huge catch in many big games for Ohio State. But for Justin Fields reuniting with Garrett Wilson, they talk chemistry. It'd be really nice to see that get going, because right now with how the Jets are structured at wide receiver and tight end specifically, it's Garrett Wilson and then a massive drop down. And I would fully expect the New York Jets to grab a tight end at some point during this draft. And sure, that is the tight end room's going to change. Sure, it's not going to be just Jeremy Ruckert and Stone Smart, but still, Garrett is going to be the one who is the leader in the target department, and be really nice to see Justin Fields get that connection back that he so clearly had with Garrett Wilson at Ohio State, which is honestly the perfect segue into the second quote, which, Justin Fields was asked about the quote from Aaron Glenn, where Glenn was like, we want this guy to play quarterback, like what he did at Ohio State, and he hasn't really done that, in his first two stops in Chicago and Pittsburgh. Here was his answer on that.
Justin, when we were talking to Aaron Glenn last week in Florida at the owners' meetings, he said that while you're a dynamic runner, their hope is to really develop you as a quarterback, to let you truly play the quarterback position, which he felt that maybe wasn't the case in your two previous stops. I'm wondering if you could speak to that, and whether you feel like in the previous stops you didn't get a chance to fully play the quote unquote the position.
I mean, I think I was asked to, I did what I was asked to do, and I've never had a problem with that. I've always been a team player. I've always been, advocating on, putting, myself behind the team. So, like I said, I'm not really gonna get too much into depth on, what was happened in Chicago and what happened last year with Pittsburgh. But like I said, I'm grateful for all the experiences that I've had. I met a lot of great people there, built a lot of great relationships that'll last a lifetime. And, I think, of course, the more time you have in the league, the more experience you have. So, like I said, I think I'm progressing and getting better each and every year. So, like I said, I'm excited to get things rolling this year.
I did what I was asked to do, and I never had a problem with that. Great quote. Honestly, great quote from Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields will be a very easy person to root for. I hope it works out with him. I'm not saying Jet fans have to put all their eggs in the Justin Fields basket, and that's it. Clearly, I don't think that's fair or reasonable. But watching him play on Sundays, again, it's going to be an easy guy to root for, because I think Justin Fields is a good person, and I liked that answer of how he's a team first guy. And as a leader, I think that's how you have to be at the position. Yes, quarterbacks are extremely high paid. It's the most valuable position in the sport in the NFL, but you have to be a team first guy. And I like that he didn't really throw any of his other stops under the bus. He was kind of just like, I did what I was told, and I'm willing to put the other team first. And yes, as clearly I'm wearing the run the damn ball hat, I think that's going to be the motto of this football team in 2025. But at the same time, they're going to have Justin Fields, I think, throw more than what he did in his first two stops. In Chicago, he had a year where he had nearly 1,200 rushing yards. I don't think he has that many with the Jets this year if he plays all 17 games. And I don't think he's going to be someone who's throwing 2,500 yards in a season. I would like to, assuming he plays 17 games, I'd like him to be close to 3,500 passing yards. And sure, you could probably add another 800 or so rushing yards on top of that because of how, dynamic he is at that position running the football. He's a big play waiting to happen. And I'm not saying take away his legs because clearly that's the strength of his game. But I'd like to see the Jets try it with him more. They have nothing to lose with having him air it out. If it doesn't work, okay, you have your answer and you're trying to find your franchise quarterback next year. If it does work, well, then maybe he's a really good quarterback. And that's the hope. And again, it's only a hope right now. We have to actually see it, but I think that's at least what the Jets plan, should be. Brandon Stephens, a controversial signing with the New York Jets, spoke to why he picked the New York Jets.
Could you just describe to us what the free agent process was like for you and what was the key or keys that led you to the Jets?
Yeah, the process, it was pretty simple, and straightforward. Obviously it was my first time going through free agency, so I didn't know, what to expect. But, man, I did my homework, on the Jets, and, I really liked, the coaching staff, bringing in Aaron Glenn, Coach Wilkes and Coach Bly, and just doing my research on them and just seeing their style. It was a pretty easy decision for me.
A couple things to note for me: the coaching as a big reason. Aaron Glenn, Steve Wilkes were two of the names that he mentioned. He did get a lot of money from the New York Jets, which I think some fans were very surprised about. I was surprised he got that much money from the New York Jets, but they really believe in him. And he has that, physicality and size and speed. He's really close to figuring it out. And if he plays like the 2023 version of himself, then I think this could end up working out for the Jets. If the Jets, unfortunately, are unable to break his poor habits that he had in 2024, not turning around and finding the ball, taking penalties. He was honestly, they took a lot of opposing offenses took a lot of shots at Stephens, and it was working for them in their offense a year ago. With Sauce Gardner and Michael Carter, maybe you feel a little bit more comfortable to give Stephens help over the top, and that would be the plan for them on the defense. But I would like to think that they have a plan in place for this guy, Aaron Glenn, and Steve Wilkes does. And Aaron Glenn played the position of defensive backs. He clearly likes defensive backs with size and with athleticism, and you're hoping Steve Wilkes and him are able to get the most out of a guy like Brandon Stephens. So those were some of my bigger takeaways from these press conferences today. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. I'm Matt O'Leary. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you next time.